Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to part 2 of my Lecha Dodi, which is given by the Frierdiker Rebbe on the wedding of the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin. And just today was the 94th anniversary. We're already going into nighttime, so the Yudalad Kislev is over, but the chuppah was on Yudalad, and the Simcha was on the night of the 15th of Kislev, so that's tonight. So right now we're still celebrating the wedding of the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin, and again, that's why I decided to learn this specific mimer. I thought it was the most appropriate thing to learn. Anyways, last night, in the last video, we covered the first half of Ois Aleph in this mimer, and we talked about where we started off with the first line in the song Lecha Dodi, which we sing every Friday night to welcome the Shabbos. Lecha Dodi l'kras kala p'nei Shabbos nekabala. Come, my beloved, to meet the bride. Let us welcome the Shabbos. And now Frierdiker Rebbe goes on to say that Shabbos is referred to as the bride, and Shabbos is also called queen, just like we say the Shabbos queen. And then we said in like a bride and groom, the groom is a king and the bride is a queen. But we brought in some Zohar where it said man was created in the image of the supernal man, which is Hashem, and this refers to the Sephiros. And the king is the Zer Anpin, the Zer Anpin of Atzilus. That's the six of the 7 emotional attributes, the 6 Sephiros, Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, and Yesod, and the Sephiros Malchus, which means kingdom, royalty, is the queen, and then the Zohar says a king without his queen is neither king nor great. And this shows how important the unification of Zer Anpin and Malchus is. And then the Frierdiker Rebbe brings in different sources on where Shabbos is referred to as a bride and a queen, where it originates from. We had Rav Chanina would go out he would go out on a Friday evening with fine garments and stand and say Lecha Dodi l'kras kala p'nei Shabbos nekabala. I think that's what it says. Hang on. He would say l'kras Shabbos malka. Boyu v'netzel l'kras Shabbos malka. Let's go out and no, hang on. He would say, let us greet the Shabbos queen, and then also Rabbi Yanai would also wear Shabbos clothes, and Erev Shabbos he would say boy kala. So we can see that Shabbos is talked about is referred to as a queen and a bride, and the Zohar would say all forms of Shabbos preparations before Shabbos all the preparations for Shabbos should be done before Shabbos: foods, drinks, clothing, and the lounge area. And then one should prepare a fine recliner with pillows, embroidered covers, etc. Just as one prepares a marriage chamber for a bride. For Shabbos is a queen and a bride. And we said that Frierdiker Rebbe says, for just as Shabbos is the source of the blessings, likewise is rejoicing with the groom and bride and receiving them with joy is the source of blessings. So during the week we should welcome Shabbos with joy, and when we do that, we make a perfect unification of the 6 weekdays and Shabbos, and the week that we just experienced is blessed by this Shabbos, by us welcoming the Shabbos with joy, just like we rejoice with the bride and groom. Okay. Now we will move on. By the way, I'm reading from this book, The Majestic Bride. It has really good translation, has good footnotes. I haven't really gotten into footnotes. Maybe I will. We'll see. but either it has Hebrew one side, English on the other, and that's what I'm reading. So if you want to follow along right now, I'm on page 28 and 29. Okay, let's continue. Dihine ksiv ki al kol kavod chupa shehem shtei bechinos kavod chason uchvod kala. So it is written for over all the honor there will be a chuppah. For over all the honor there will be a chuppah. And there are two kinds of honor. Shehem shtei bechinos kavod. So there are two kinds of honor: chason, kavod chason, uchvod kala. Honor for the groom and honor for the bride. Yeah. Okay. The chason hu hakodesh baruch hu uchmamar b'yom chasunasai zoi matan Torah shehakodesh baruch hu nikra chason uchneses Yisrael nikres kala. The chason is the hang on. So Hashem, okay, yeah. Hashem is the chason. The chason is Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as and the hang on. As it says, biyom chasunasoi zoi matan Torah. In the on his wedding day, this is the matan Torah. This is the giving of the Torah. Shakadosh Baruch Hu nikra chason, and that Hashem is calling the chason uchneses Yisrael. Oh, sorry, I'm reading this wrong. That Hashem is called the chason uchneses Yisrael nikres kala, and the Jewish people are called the kala. Okay. So Hashem is the groom, and us Bnei Yisrael, we are the bride. And Matan Torah, and the wedding day is like Matan Torah, where we receive the Torah. The chavod hu bechinas makif, and honor, the kavod, is on the level of makif. The makif means encompasses. It's this I'll probably read the footnote if I can find it. It says as opposed to an aspect that permeates. To explain, some qualities are more internal and others more external. Knowledge, for example, is an internal quality. When one is given knowledge, it enters and is collected within his mind. Honor, however, is an external quality. The honor bestowed upon a person does not enter with him, but surrounds him and lifts him up a higher stature. Okay, so that's what makif. So makif, honor is on the level of makif. Kavod chason ahavas kadosh baruch hu l'chneses Yisrael k'moi shekasuv. So kavod chason, the honor of the groom, is the love of Hashem. That refers to love that the love Hashem has for the Jewish people. K'moi shekasuv, as it was written, ahavti eschem amar havaya. I have loved you, says Hashem. Uchvod kala ahavas knesset Yisrael lakadosh baruch hu, and the honor of the bride is the love the Jewish people have for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Uchma shekasuv, as it's written, nichsefa v'gam kalsa nafshi. My soul yearns, indeed it pines, for the courtyard of the Lord. 28. That's from Tehillim. So, okay. So that's the level of honor. We have the two levels of honor, as we said. The level from the chason is Hashem loving us, and then the second level is us loving Hashem. It's kind of like a from above to below and below to above aspect, where Hashem loving us is above to below, and we loving Hashem is below to above. The hachupa hu makif. Hamakif haklali al chason v'kala, and the chuppah is the makif, is the the chuppah is chuppah hum hamakif haklali. The chuppah is generally encompassing both the chassan and kala. Says here in English in brackets, and the chuppah is an even loftier level that generally encompasses both groom and bride. So it's above the level of just bride and just groom, but it's so it's kind of both combined, and I guess is a higher level. And so it is below in the physical realm. In the order of the wedding ceremony, hang on. So in the order of the in the order the guests come to welcome the groom. Yeah, shabayim rav lekabel pnei chasan. The guests come and they receive the groom. They welcome the groom. V'acher kach holchin im hachasan lekabel pnei hakala. And afterwards, they walk with the groom to welcome the bride. Yeah. V'chasan mechase b'tza'if es hakala v'hailachim el hachuppah. And the chassan and this is where the chassan covers the bride's face with a veil. Yeah, the chassan covers with a veil the bride, and they go to the chuppah. Yeah, as I said last video, like I'm going a bit slow because I'm trying to translate the words as well. That's how I'm learning. So yeah, I'm kind of looking at the English and fitting it into the Hebrew here. Anyways, v'ha'inyan hu divchol aliyas hamakabel el hamashpia tzarich liyos techila hamshachas hamashpia b'vchinas chitzonius sheba levichinas chitzonius hamakabel. The deeper meaning of this is that hang on. Elias. Okay, so in order for there to be a union of giver and receiver, there needs to be able to hang on. In order for them to be any union of giver and receiver, the receiver must ascend so as to draw close to the giver. But before this can occur, the giver, the mashpia, must first establish an external connection, with the receiver by giving something of his external faculties that will touch the external faculties of the receiver. Okay, I'm just trying to, like I said, I'm trying to fit in the English with the Hebrew, but I feel like this English translation gave a lot more explanation. Anyways, kidei she'al yedei hamshacha zo yuchal hamakabel lisa es atzmai ulehis alois lehiyos korev l'madregas hamashpia ve'oz yikabel hamshacha hapnimis mashpia. This in turn enables the receiver to lift himself up, to rise until he becomes close to the standing of the giver, so that he may then receive from the giver the deeper internal transmission. I need to read this again. I'm just going to read it in English. The same is true in the physical realm. In the order of the wedding ceremony, first the guests come to welcome the groom, then they walk together with the groom to welcome the bride, at which point the groom covers the bride's face with the veil. Finally, they proceed to the chuppah. Okay, the deeper meaning of this: in order for there to be any union of giver and receiver, the receiver must ascend so as to draw close to the giver. But before this can occur, the giver must first establish an external connection with the receiver by giving something of his external faculties that will touch the external faculties of the receiver. This in turn enables the receiver to lift himself up to rise until he becomes close to the standing of the giver, so that he may then receive from the giver the deeper internal transmission. Okay. So the receiver is, I think, the bride, and the giver is the groom. That's what it usually is. That's how it's usually explained. So for the giver, okay, the receiver, the bride must ascend so as to draw close to the giver. I'm going to read this footnote 31, if anyone's following the book. To better clarify the concept being discussed, let us focus on one example of the giver-receiver relationship. The relationship between a mentor and his protege. The mentor's goal is that he and his protege will become so close that ultimately the protege will begin to think and act as he does. The mentor wishes to share a deep personal connection with his protege. However, since the protege is initially much lower than the mentor must first raise the protege to his high level. Without doing this, the mentor's attempt to share with protege cannot be received by the faculties of the protege, let alone establish a deep connection. Therefore, the mentor himself must raise the protege by first establishing a very basic external connection with the protege, one which his faculties can receive and appreciate as the beginning of a relationship. This acts as a starting point for them to ultimately realize a deeper, more meaningful relationship. This then is the deeper significance of the Kabbalah's Panim ceremony. The groom, which is the giver, approaches the bride, the receiver, and covers her face with the veil, establishing a very basic external connection. This raises the bride up to a higher standing and enables the chuppah when groom and bride unite in a deeper, more internal way. So all these things are like this whole procession of the wedding, each signifies a deeper thing, where the groom going over to the bride, is the mashpia going over to the makabel, forming an external connection by covering the veil, and by doing that, it raises up the makabel, the bride, and then from there they can go together and they can then they can like form a true connection. Otherwise, I guess it wouldn't be the same. It would be I can't think of an analogy, but it just wouldn't work. Okay. Anyways, now the kitzur of so we're coming to the end of the ois. We're coming up to the kitzur. Yivaer ki chasan v'chala heim dugmas hasifros elyonos za u'malchus. So it explains that a groom and bride correspond to the spheros, to the supernal spheros of Za and Malchus. Zeram Pnei Malchus. The Kabbalah Pnei HaKala hu kedugmas Kabbalas Pnei HaShabbos. Shehi habracha l'chol yimei hashavua. And receiving the bride is corresponding to receiving Shabbos, which is the brachas for all the days of the week, which is the source of brachas for all the days of the week. Kavod chason ahavas hakodesh baruch hu. Sorry. Kavod chason ahavas hakodesh baruch hu lichneses Yisrael. The honor of the chason is Hashem's love for the Jewish people. Kavod kala ahavas knesses Yisrael lakodesh baruch hu. And the honor of the kala refers to the love that Bnei Israel, the Jewish people, have for Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'achupa hu hamshachas ha'atzmus v'kaidem hachupa hachasan mechase es hakala b'tza'if shehu keiruv chitzonius hamashpia el hachitzonius hamakabel b'shvil hashpa'a v'kabala pnimius. And the chuppah is the connection, is the essential transmission, and before the chuppah, the chasen covers the kala with a veil, and that is the which is the connection, which is a connection between the external faculties of the giver, so the chitonius hamashpia, the external factors of the mashpia. Hang on. Mashpia is not. Yeah. So keruv chitonius hamashpia el chitonius hamakabel. So that this is the connection of the external aspects of the mashpia to the external aspects of the receiver, of the makabel. B'shvil hashpa'a v'kabala pnimius, and this is so that there's a deeper, more essential transmission and reception. Okay, so that was like a whole summary of this previous oath. Bride and groom is Zeran Pin Malchus, which is also the 6 days a week in Shabbos. And when we make a unification with the two, like things all make sense, everything's complete. And then when we receive it with joy, like we greet Shabbos with joy, like we sing Lecha Dodi, or just like when we greet a bride and groom with joy and dance and have simcha with them, it's the source of brachas. But and this happens because of the different levels of where the bride and groom stand, because the bride is the groom is the level of Hashem, like it's a mashpia. The groom is the mashpia, and the bride is the makabel. So the groom is Hashem giving love to Bnei Israel, and the bride is Bnei Israel giving love to Hashem. And the chuppah, the whole chuppah ceremony, including what happens before with the Kabbalah's panim, where it's all about raising the bride on the level to, I guess, reach where they reach the same level, and they can form a deeper connection, and that's done under the chuppah. Like you can't, like the chuppah is this deep connection, but you can the bride can only, I guess, stand under the chuppah until she's first raised up to the level of the groom, which is like Bnei Yisrael being raised up to the level of Hashem, and there's that perfect connection of love. Okay, I'm going to end off this video there, because it just got that any of this ice got very deep. Tomorrow's Friday, so no video tomorrow, unless I, miraculously have time. But probably the next video will come out Sunday, where I will start the second part of this mimer, and we'll see where we get from there. Have a good night, a good Yom Tov, a good Shabbos, and love you all.